Hey guys, this is Chelsea. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about TV series that I wish had just one more season. Now I have 4 to get through, so they'll be pretty quick, but I feel like these series either needed just one more season to kind of wrap things up and have a nice neat little bow, or these are just series that I just personally love and wish would come back for just, one more last hurrah. Let's go ahead and get started. The first one on here is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It came out in '97, and I watched this for the first time like 2 years ago, and I procrastinated watching the last episode because I just didn't want it to end. So we have Buffy. She's in high school, and her friends are in charge of making sure that none of the demons harm any of their classmates at their high school. So she starts off just training, learning what it is to be a vampire slayer, and then as the series goes on, of course, it gets more complex. There's like a little love triangle between her, Angel, and Spike. I'm personally Team Angel, but that's just me. But yeah, so I really love this series because I feel like it had a lot of different points around it about female empowerment. Now, Joss Whedon, the creator of the show, did not age very well in this sort of idea, but I feel like the show itself was really empowering, and I feel like every episode was super creative and the demons that they were fighting. And they learned a lot about themselves as people throughout high school. So they had the typical high school drama, but also the layer of them fighting the demons just makes it a lot more complex and intricate. And I feel like the last episode did a really, really good job of wrapping it all up. There was a good sense of Buffy passing on her identity and her knowledge to other vampire slayers around the world. And I feel like that was a really good way to have the series in general. And when I was doing research on this, I found out that apparently the show ended because the characters themselves were aging out. They weren't sure they could actually pass as high schoolers anymore, which makes sense. And they did go into college a little bit as well. I think they went into their sophomore year of college, so that's a little bit of an overlay as well. But yeah, they just aged out. They didn't feel like they could continue the show, and I just really love it so much. And next up we have Mindhunter. Now this only had 2 seasons, and from my understanding, the show ended because it was just really way too expensive. Basically based off this book that was about the FBI and how they first started to dig into serial killers. In the show they talk about how that name actually came to be, that terminology. And so it's like this ragtag team of scientists and psychologists and just people from the FBI in general, and they all come together to figure out what it's like in the mind of a serial killer, why they kill, the methods in which they kill, and just to sort of dive more deeply into that. So with that premise alone, the show is very dark, obviously, but I felt they did a really good job of explaining their thought processes of how they were actually trying to investigate these criminals. They went into the prisons, they had their audio tapes, and they were just asking them a lot about their background, their lives, and it's a bit seedy at times. I feel like there's a lot of points where there's a lot of gray area and a lot of lines get crossed, and so with that tension, that morality that comes into play, I feel like it makes the show really intriguing. And it has an interesting cast. We have Jonathan Groff, who was in the original Spring Awakening, and we also have Anna Torv, who is from another series that I adore, which is Fringe. That's a sci-fi series. So the series ended, like I said, after 2 seasons, and I wish there was just one more season so we could have a nice send-off to how the show went. I feel like at the end they were investigating a lot of different criminals. I think there was 5 of them, and there were, as they were interviewing all these people, there was also this underlying storyline that was going on, and they were trying to catch a serial killer in the present time. But this show is just beautifully shot. There was this one scene where Jonathan Groff's character was interviewing someone from the neighborhood, and there was this shot where the camera starts to go down as he's going down to get eye level with the person that he's talking to. And I feel like those little details just make me so much more involved in the show as well. And like I said, it's a very moralistic show, so there's a lot of different things that come up for all of them, and the lines they get crossed really show you what the values are of each character and how they really carry out their work. And then you also go their home lives and see how their wives and their children are really impacted by the work that they do, and how they can't really turn it off and go home and just carry on. It really follows them home. And I feel like all of those different layers of the series as well just makes it that much more rich to watch. This next one is called Somebody Somewhere. I saw this when I was in a writer's class last year. One of my teachers played this scene from the show, and it's about a woman who has a really great singing voice, but she goes back home to take care of her sick sister. And it's about her trying to find herself again in this really small town, figuring out what she wants from life. It's very existential in that way. And it's on HBO Max, and it's in its 3rd and final season currently. And I just feel so bad because I finally found the show that I really adore. I feel like all the characters are just, they work really well together, and they're super, super funny, and they're all going through their own stuff. And I really like how with each episode we see each character making these little changes, you know, these little brave moments, even when it's like someone telling their partner how they really feel, or when someone finally gets up on stage and sings a song they want to sing. It's like these little minuscule decisions that people make, but actually those little decisions add up to make like a really brave life. I feel like they do a really good job of showing those nuances throughout each episode, and I just fall in love with each and every character. And each episode's only like 20 minutes long, but it feels so much longer, and it feels so much like I'm watching someone's entire lifetime through each episode. And it just makes you like want to stick around and see where these characters go. But unfortunately it's in its last season, so if you want to catch it, you can watch them up until I think the 3rd episode is out for the 3rd season currently. So you guys check it out if you want to. And the last one on here is Eagle. This is also a recent find of mine, but it has 4 seasons, and it was on Netflix for 2 seasons, and then it went to Peacock, I believe. We have Mike Coulter, who I love. He is also from Jessica Jones, which is a Marvel show, and the series is about a psychologist and a priest and a scientist, and they're this team that investigates demonic cases. So they try to figure out if the demons are actually real, or if there's a scientific explanation for why they exist and why this phenomenon is kind of happening. And so it does a really good job of exploring the lines between religion and science, about people's moral beliefs, and it also dives into the characters and how they are a little bit gray area as well. So we have like a scientist who's trying to obviously debunk these demonic figures and like these really like French science almost kind of events that are going on. And so there's like a lot of science that comes into play as well. And this underlining plot that's going on as well is that there's supposed to be this overtaking of demons coming in and like making the world come to its demise basically. And so there's also like dives into the Vatican and the priesthood, and so there's not really like a show that I would say has a lot of comedic relief. I feel like a lot of it is very heavy and dark, but also like the costumes and the puppetry that goes on is just like insane. They have their own department for the demons and for the costumes, and so they have a lot of really cool behind the scenes episodes where you can see how the production designers and the makeup artists and the SFX artists are creating these costumes as well. So those are just really in and of itself like so cool to see. And from what I saw, this show ended because of the writer's strike mainly. Like that really upended a lot of aspects of the show, and they just couldn't really come back and do what they wanted to do with the show in the end. And I feel like it ended okay. Like the ending wasn't necessarily good or bad. I just felt like it was kind of neutral, and it left me feeling like they could have done more with it, but I also understand perhaps why they had to end it the way they did. So yeah, that wraps up the shows that I wish just had one more season. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, if you want to leave some of your favorite shows at the bottom, I invite you to do that. I know people talk about Freaks and Geeks a lot, for example, like wanting that show to continue on, Parks and Rec, Community, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you resonate with any of this, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!